Good morning, my Real News Midday TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning, and I'm wishing for everyone a wonderful and a productive day. And in the news this morning, cops list the men after gang conflict in Whitfield town. The St. Andrews South Police on Thursday listed several men who are being asked to report to the Criminal Investigations Branch immediately. The men, the police say, are being sought following ongoing investigations into an internal conflict within the Spade Corner gang, which operates in Upper Whitfield town, Kingston 13. According to the police, the conflict has resulted in an escalation of violence and criminal activities within and outside of the community. The police have identified the men they believe to be involved or aligned with factions of the gang. They are Theo Smith, O.C. Gilly from Galloway Road, Lardy McLeish, O.C. Loddy, O.C. Blacks from Galloway Road, Tad, true name unknown, Kajay, true name unknown, Dwayne Picton, O.C. Wayne or Spongy from Pretoria Road, Marvin Gentles, O.C. Mario or Eyeball from Pretoria Road, O'Shane, surname unknown, O.C. Page from Galloway Road, Rasta, true name unknown from Berwick Road, Formula, true name unknown, Shaquille Henry, O.C. Shackman from Pretoria Road, Joel, true name unknown, and Romain Stone, O.C. Hulky from Pretoria Road. These men are advised to report in person to the Hunts Bay Criminal Investigation Branch by 4 p.m. on Friday, July 18, 2025, or contact them at 876-923-7111. The police are also seeking the public's cooperation and are asking anyone with information on the whereabouts of these individuals to contact the Hunts Bay CIB 119 or Crime Stop at 311. 48-hour curfew extended in sections of St. Mary. The 48-hour curfew that was imposed in sections of the Enfield community in Onotta Bay, St. Mary, has been extended for another 48 hours. The curfew began at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, July 16, and will remain in effect until 6 p.m. on Friday, July 18. The areas of the curfew are as follows: north along a section of the Iterborough Main Road near the National Water Commission pump site extending to the Dry River Bridge, east from the Dry River Bridge extending to a section of the Enfield community known as the 41, south from 41 Square extending west along an imaginary line, west from the end of the imaginary line at 41 Square to the starting point near the National Water Commission pump site. During the hours of the curfew, all individuals within its boundaries are being encouraged to remain within their premises unless otherwise authorized by the ground commander. Cabby apologizes to JUTC after road rage incident, but says he was not totally at fault. A taxi driver caught on camera vandalizing a Jamaican Urban Transit Company bus in a fit of road rage earlier this week is issuing an apology to the state-run transportation company for his actions. My actions would set the JUTC back. I have to apologize for that. The JUTC serves the public. Every unit that they have that has a problem is a problem to the public. JUTC doesn't even have enough buses to serve the public, much less to think about someone hitting the side and causing damage. The taxi driver, Errol McLean, told the news on Thursday. On Tuesday, McLean was caught on video repeatedly hitting the glass doors and the side of a JUTC bus until a window broke. However, the cabby says he is not completely at fault in the incident, during which he claims that he was obstructed by the bus twice. According to McLean, in the first instance, the bus, while attempting to pick up passengers from the bus stop, came far too close to his vehicle. I have to go on the sidewalk to avoid you tearing up the car. I was angry. I was upset because the JUTC driver didn't even consider it decent enough to say, "Driver, you know I am sorry about that. Sorry, boss." Instead of that, he's giving me middle finger. I was upset. What I should have done was to go back to my vehicle and perhaps go to the police and make a report, he admitted. McLean reacted angrily, leading him to break the window of the bus, which he says was not intentional. His misery worsened when, according to McLean, after returning to his car, he was obstructed by the JUTC bus a second time, resulting in him crashing the cab into another vehicle. McLean said he had planned to park properly in front of the bus, release his passengers, who he said included a distressed special needs child, and discussed things further with the driver. But according to the cabbie, before he could do that, the JUTC driver swung out on him in the right lane and forced him to either hit the bus or an oncoming car, resulting in the accident. While emphatic in his apology to the JUTC for the damage, he made no apologies to the driver, whom he insisted contributed to the accident. He has not been charged with any offense. The JUTC declined to comment on the matter, which it said is currently under investigation. ITA service hubs to close early on Friday. The Island Traffic Authority has announced that all 15 of its service hubs across the island will be closed early at 2 p.m. on Friday, July 18. The early closure is to allow for critical data migration ahead of the launch of the ITA's new digital certificate of fitness system. The digital transition, which officially takes effect on Monday, July 21, marks a major step in modernizing the ITA's operations. The new system is expected to streamline the motor vehicle fitness certification process and improve service delivery through enhanced digital infrastructure. Customers are urged to plan accordingly and complete any urgent business with the ITA before the early closure on Friday. While the service hubs will close at 2 p.m., the ITA's corporate office at 145 Maxfield Avenue in Kingston will remain open until 4 p.m. Normal operating hours at all service hubs will resume at 8:30 a.m. on Monday, July 21, with the digital system fully in place. The ITA has apologized for any inconvenience and thanked the public for its patience and support as it works to deliver faster, more accessible, and customer-friendly services. 72-year-old sentenced to accumulated 60 years for raping 3 step-grandchildren will serve 10. A 72-year-old St. Catherine farmer who initially denied raping his 3 step-grandchildren, ages 6 to 11, but recanted, was on Thursday handed an accumulated 60 years of prison sentence for those crimes, but will effectively spend only 10 years behind the bars. The man had been indicted for 5 counts of rape and 2 counts of sexual touching in relation to the 3 girls. Supreme Court Judge Justice Bertram Morrison, in handing down the sentences in the Home Circuit Division of the Supreme Court on Thursday, sentenced the man to 10 years on each of the 5 counts of rape and 5 years each on the 2 counts of sexual touching. The sentences are to run concurrently, however, making it so that the convict will spend the longest of the lot, 10 years in prison. According to details in records put before the court, the man between 2018 and 2019 on different occasions raped his 11-year-old step-grandchild while she was at his house. In one instance, he reportedly instructed the other children in the house to remain in one room while he took her to the living room, carried out the act, and cautioned her against telling anyone afterwards. The child, who was diagnosed as a slow learner, reportedly said she hesitated to tell anyone about the assault because she was embarrassed and afraid she would be punished. She, however, told of the rape after she was questioned by her mother. In the other matter for which he was charged, the man on 2 occasions between 2020 and 2021 fondled his 6-year-old step-grandchild and also raped her twice on her grandmother's bed while she was away at work. He reportedly told the child not to tell anyone. The matter was reported after a family member of the mother noticed the child's sensitivity while she was being showered and questioned her. The other child, who was 7 years of age, said she was preparing for school one morning and was about to put on her underwear when he accosted her and told her to lie down on the bed, where he assaulted her. She said when she told the grandmother about the incident, she confronted her husband and told him that if he did it again, she would call the police. The child, however, said her grandmother was not the one to report him. According to the social inquiry report of the probation aftercare officer presented to the judge ahead of the sentencing, the man initially denied committing the offenses, lifting his hands in the air and professing an oath in the process, but eventually recanted by indicating that he is accepting responsibility for committing the offenses. As to whether he recognized the impact and consequences of his crimes on the victims and his community, the officer said the man claimed he was unsure how they were affected. According to the man, while his parents separated when he was a child, he was never subjected to any type of abuse nor witnessed any abuse of a sexual nature. The father of 7 claimed that he had a pleasant relationship with his wife, who has no children for him. However, the probation aftercare officer said investigations suggested otherwise. Residents of the convicted man's community, in expressing surprise when told of the offenses, said he appeared to be a nice family man and was not seen as a troublemaker. Several said he should be shown mercy, as he might have been intoxicated when he committed the acts. Most of the residents, however, said they saw the matter as extremely serious, considering that the victims were children and members of his family, and as such felt he should serve time. One child who was interviewed in the presence of the grandmother said she felt sad about the situation and sometimes think about the different times she was abused, but asked that the court forgive him. According to the probation aftercare officer, the grandmother, who is in her 50s, made the same request, pleading for the court to return her husband to the community. The child's parents, however, were adamant that he should serve time, with the father emphasizing that an extremely long prison term should be given. The man, who the probation aftercare officer deemed as high risk to children and low risk to himself, had dropped out of school at the primary level and was found to be numerate but not literate. The officer, in his assessment and recommendation, said the offender at this geriatric stage of his life can hardly be categorized among the naive and as such should have exercised better judgment. The mentioned detail becomes further accentuated, taking into consideration his assertions that he was exposed to acceptable norms and the values from his family and the church, the officer noted. Offender's information is that he has not been exposed to sexual abuse and that he is not a substance misuser. Notwithstanding this enigma, it is vivid that some cognitive dissonance is at play, he said. The officer further noted that the several counts outlined in the circumstances of offenses involving children known to the offender are suggestive that a type is targeted and recidivism is on the horizon for the man who has a previous conviction for fraud in 1998. In the meantime, the probation aftercare officer, in pointing out that the man had pleaded guilty, making it so that the children were not subjected to a long trial process, said that there is already significant impact on them, which may have been missed by the parents. It is crucial to consider that the impact on child victims is not immediately and completely overt, as the effects usually surface psychologically through prolonged sadness into adulthood, where it is usually quite destructive and often long-lasting, perhaps even a lifetime, the officer pointed out. He said that the man's relation to the children and his age suggested that he was in a position of trust and that there was an expectation of protection rather than being preyed upon. As such, the probation officer recommended a custodial sentence so that intense psychological aid can be implemented. The matter was prosecuted by Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions Malika Kellier, while defense attorney Franklin Halliburton represented the convicted man. The case was investigated by Detective Corporal Julian Martin Finley. Guys, thanks for watching. Please join us this afternoon at 2 p.m. for another news update.